Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome to this webinar. People are joining. So we'll give everyone a few minutes. Yeah. Feel free to add a message in the chat where you're watching from. We've got quite a global audience as usual, people from everywhere in the world pretty much. So I'm based in the UK, in Melbourne, where we've got our head office. Payara, hello from Guatemala, New Jersey, hi everyone, Germany, Switzerland. Yeah, like I said, there's everywhere. Lovely, great to see.
Michael.
And great to see some familiar names as well.
Yes, Guatemala. Such a lovely place to stay in the summer. I miss so much.
Cape Town. Yeah, Brazil, of course. Otavio is biased.
Oh, yes, of course. Indeed, my favorite country.
Yeah, you see more people from Brazil. Great.
Wow. I mean, right now it's become cold. It is a good moment to do more often barbecue, right, guys? I mean, just I do love barbecue. By the way, where are you from exactly in Brazil? I was born in Salvador in the north. And Brazil is a huge country. I mean, it's like a continent, different culture, if it's like that. So, Felipe and Jose, where exactly in Brazil are you from? Oh, Rio de Janeiro. It's a lovely place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. From São Paulo. Oh, yes. I lived there for 8 years and then moved to Portugal.
Brazil is definitely one of the countries on my list to visit. Bali.
I mean, you have opportunity to find an excuse and try at least 2 or 3 countries in Latin America. For me, Brazil, of course, Colombia, especially because the food, they have the coconut lemonade. For me, is so far my favorite drink ever. They mix 2 of my favorite fruits together, coconut and lemonade, and a little bit of sweet. Guatemala, because we're able to see the historic moments, the temples. In Italy, there is the city that was destroyed by a volcano. And in Guatemala is based, the Guatemala city is around volcanoes. So you can feel that moment. And there is also the historic city where they do have several old buildings. So it's an amazing place to go.
Adding to the list, definitely.
Yes, Antigua, Guatemala. Cocoa honey, yes, delicious. I agree with you.
Great, we've got so many people from all sorts of different corners of the world. That's what I really love about these events. Okay, so we've got more people joining still, but I think we'll be starting soon. And if anyone joins us after, that's all right. So just my usual introduction, more of a logistics for today. So I am Dominika Tasasz and I am your host for this event. I'm a marketing specialist at Payara and community builder as well. if you attend our webinars, our regular events, which we run a couple of times a month, you definitely have seen me before. So yes, so for today, the usual approach that we have to running our webinars, it's going to be very much code-based, not many slides, if at all, really. And we welcome conversations and questions from you. So at any point during the presentation, just post your questions in the chat, post your questions in the Q&A, whichever you prefer. You can discuss or ask and answer questions of others in the chat as well. The chat is open to everyone. So we do encourage you to have conversations there. And if someone else knows the answer to your question, then please feel free to type that in. We very much want you all to communicate and collaborate together. That's why we're here for as well. So today we are going to be talking about building ultra-fast applications with Payara and Microservices. So hopefully that is exactly why you came here for. So we've got our speakers, which I bet you already know as well, and you just had a chance to meet. So we've got Otavio Santana, who is a Java champion and Microservices Java Jakarta EE expert, and Luqman Saeed, who is also a Jakarta EE expert and tech writer at Payara. So they will be basically taking you through the demos today, and hopefully you will learn quite a lot from it. And yeah, I think that's all from me. So again, for those of you who joined later, because I can see we've got more people joining, just post your questions at any time during the webinar, in the comments, in the Q&A, and we'll get to them whenever we can during the presentations. Okay, so I will leave the room for Luqman now, and yeah, and have fun and enjoy.
Yes, thank you, Dominica, and thank you guys for coming. As you are here, you all know microservices, or the microservices paradigm, is a very hot paradigm that's very popular now for quite a number of reasons. It's a great architecture that solves a lot of the bottlenecks with monoliths and all that. And everybody wants a fast application. Everybody wants the application to be fast. However, most of the time, the bottlenecks to the speed of an application is almost always the data layer. And so there have been different ways to fix that. There have been different frameworks, different labs, and different solutions. And as we'll see in this webinar, Microstream is one of the solutions for building ultra-fast applications, and that is exactly what you're going to see. My friend Otavio demo to you. It's a typical Java SE and Jakarta EE application. He's just going to show you the two and see how you can build very fast applications with the given runtime. So let me just hand over to him. So as developers, we are always itching to see the meat of the soup. So let me just hand over to him to take over. So yeah, over to you, Otavio.
Well, meat is always good, right? It's impossible to run away from it. I mean, I'm Brazilian as well. So picanha, ribeye, and T-bone, those are my favorite meats ever.
Yeah,
and
meat is
for
always,
us,
yeah.
Meat is always good.
I'm not saying anything. I'm a vegetarian.
Ouch. I mean, we can stay together, but
I don't mind. So yeah, I'm going away now.
yes. But anyway, I know to prepare some foods with coconuts and rice. So you can stay at my home, Dominica, with your family. So you can have something for it. Anyway, shall we start doing some code with mud pepper? Yes, Felipe. Pepper is the Baiano specialty. So before I start, one thing that I usually love to do is the introduction around, okay, when you talk about persistence layer, what are we looking for? So what is our biggest pain? And to summarize here, especially because the main idea is to go through live coding, explain more what is Eclipse Store, how to combine with Payara, and things like that. I'd like to briefly talk about 3 points when we talk about a health persistence layer. The first one is the business, especially the reason that we're writing code. I mean, we have a goal, we have a business that we want to achieve. To summarize this whole knowledge in one book, I will recommend the DDD, the Learning Domain Driven Design, where you are able to understand the idea of strategy, DDD, tactic DDD, how to implement, how to use, especially how, when not to use this application. So in software architecture, everything has a trade-off, and DDD is not an exception. So the business, the why we're doing code. Then went through the second step that is isolation. Why? The main idea of isolation is to manage and keep your code safe from technology. And yes, that sounds weird, especially because we are writing code with technology. How we can do code if without technology? The point here of isolation is first to fight the complexity. So create layers to have small pieces like MVC, where we do have model, we do have controller in the view. And the second point here is it doesn't make sense to throw an exception around Cassandra to my final user who has no idea who or what is Cassandra database. It doesn't make sense to throw an exception with Jakarta, especially because they have no idea. So they might tell, okay, I did something wrong because my application thinks that I am Indonesia. So make sure the isolation for 2 reasons. Keep your code safe from technology, avoid any kind of exception to the user perspective, and second, to fight against the complexity. And the third one is performance. I mean, also I'm going to use relational database. I need to take advantage of that. Also, I'm going to use NoSQL database. I need to take advantage of that, and so on. So business, the reason, isolation, to keep it safe, performance, to take advantage of the database. If you learn those 3 steps, you are done to go. That is the principle of this explanation here. Okay, so moving to the next step is the database integrations. Why? Because as Java developer, Java engineer, we need to analyze and think more about the trade-off among all those solutions. For example, here, we do have the driver, where the idea is I can keep the code. Sorry, I said, 1 second, now you, the driver. The driver allow me to have more flexibility when I think about code, but I need to do a lot of code to do this conversion, right? So imagine right now that I have a person and I have the ID, the name, the birthday, the city, and the street. So I need to do manually the conversion to and from the JDBC driver. So it's a lot of boilerplate. And more code, more bugs, more nightmare in the future. Talking about partners, I mentioned the driver. I can do the opposite. That is, using mapper annotation, I can go far from the database. This way, I can use just annotation. So basically, what I did with the driver, it is someone that I do have here with annotations. So I don't need to handle JDBC anymore. Just annotations in my NT, in my DD class. This one, I focus more on the business, but too far from the database sometimes. And I do have a Panache entity where the idea is, okay, let's do with activity records to simplify the database operation, to create my own structure. But as you can see here, I have a huge tight coupling between my application, and my database technology. In repository, where I'm able to write around code, write around domains, the knowledge of my business, I have my repository, but I put more layers. So I have more isolation. As you can see here, briefly, I don't have a perfect formula, a perfect match for me. I mean, the design, I need to understand carefully the idea of my context and how to solve that. Okay, especially because one thing that we're facing right now is my application is one way to communicate, is one paradigm, like Java is object-oriented, and my database, a majority are relational database. So I do have classes, fields, methods, encapsulations, heritage, polymorphisms on one side. And on another hand, I do have relationships, one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. And how to handle this? So this one here, as you can see, I have my table with person and address. And this one here is exact something with classes, with encapsulation, methods, and so on. So that is a huge difference. And that is research that's put out that 90% of the operation with the database at the persistence layer is a conversion to and from Java. The serialization process took a lot of time, takes a lot of time, and probably will take a lot of time. So my application layer, my application tier right now, especially with microservice, I do, if I'm a Java developer, I want to enhance my domain to make it easier to understand. I will use the explore objects. So heritage, polymorphism, encapsulation types, and so on. And in my database, if I want to take advantage of this database, I might use normalization process. If I'm going to use relational database, I might use this normalization process if I'm going to use NoSQL database. And especially, I need to pay attention on my structure to do the proper modeling to the proper database itself. And that is where it was born, the mismatch impedance, especially because I need to do the conversion to and from database. I need to do a conversion to and from Java. My data, I need to handle. My business is my code. And that is my classic number of layers inside my application. So I have my application here. I have my Java objects, person, products, items, money, so on. I need to do this conversion. That's a timed layer. It's not a tile layer, it's a huge layer conversion if you're going to use Hibernate or things like that. And then you can do the local cache, your database, and things like that. So there, as I said, there are several research that says the majority of time on persistence layer is not in the database itself, but in the conversion side. It consumes a lot of power computer, take a lot of time. And that is the idea of the Eclipse Store. The idea here is, okay, imagine a world that I don't need to have a layer. This huge conversion. What I'm gonna do? I will save the majority of the time on my computer. I will save power computer, so money. I will reply faster than with the conversion. So if you compare a huge layer in a time layer. And that is the idea of Eclipse Store, especially, hopefully you got the idea of the theory. Is there any question before I go to the live code session? Give once, give twice. So no questions. So let's move on to my layer. So what I'm gonna do here first is to do a tiny modification to your lights. I guess it'll be easier to see. And then come here and put in the presentation mode, where it will become even easier to see. So what I do have here, so I have my POM XML file, where I'm gonna have my Java faker to save time. So I will create some random data, then configuration, then Jakarta EE running in the Java SE, and then my Eclipse Store with the Jakarta integration. So the goal here is to create some database integration with Jakarta EE with Java SE, and then go through Payara and do the same. So it's step by step. The first step here is I do have my application. This one here is using the Jakarta SE container. And my first step is to create, let's use dogs. I mean, everybody loves pets. So I will create my pet class. So I will start with dog. By the way, Luqman, do you have pets? Yes, no, maybe.
I just have cats.
Cats. Okay, let's start with cats.
Lots of cats.
I'm a dog person, but I'm fine with cats. So Michelle also likes cats. Okay, please vote for them. So it's a huge number. So please vote. Each one should we have here in our modeling, dogs or cats? So are you a dog person or you are a cat person? Cat, dog. Oh, goat. Okay. How about snake, Michelle? So anyway, I got a better idea. So I will create cat here, and I will create dog. So, and one thing that I can do here is having an animal interface, where this interface will have the name of this animal and then the breed of this animal. So no one need to fight, okay? And of course the ID. So I come here, the ID. So hopefully everybody is happy with this approach. So I do have my cat here. So it will have my string as an ID, the name, and finally the breed. So we are fine with this. Okay, thank you, Felipe. So what I can do right now, so I will implement the animal interface here, but first let's do the getters using the record style. So ID here, I will have my constructor with all of these informations. And then I will do have my equals hash code, where I will use my ID as unique reference. So I come here, not you, so I keep it this way. And then my string that I will use. And then finally, I will implement my animal here. So, and then I will do this exactly the same with the dot. So I come here, I will do my constructor, I will come in with my getters. And finally, the equals hash code with the ID. And finally, the true string. So right now, I do have both paths. So let's implement animal here. So what can I do next? Thinking of Eclipse Store, I need to do the integration. And as I said, I don't need to have any conversion. So if I want to do, I can create my own structure. But to simplify, let's use the Jakarta data integration. The idea here is to using the notation, I'm able to do queries, do annotation, but the conversion itself, we don't need to care about, because even the framework we won't care about, because this belongs to Eclipse Store. So what I'm going to do right now is through annotations. So I need to define this as an entity. So let's use entity annotation. I will define the ID. So I will use the ID annotation. I will say explicitly what information I will take a look. So I have the ID, the name, and the breed, and I will do the same with the cat. So I come here, the ID. So the ID, the column, and that is all that I do have here. So I put the annotations, I put the information, and the next step is to create some cats, create some dogs. So to make our life easier, what I'm going to do is I will create a static method here called fake, where I will receive a faker that will create for us a dog and a cat. So I come here, faker, cat, not you, but you, cat, and then I will return a new cat where it will generate a random ID, the name, and finally the breed. Oh, thank you, Marcos. Oh, yes, Roberto, it's the Eclipse Store. So I'll show it a little bit more. But as Marcos said, is this website right here, where you do have the whole information to go, to explore, to understand how to use, why you should use this, especially because, as I said, it's a tiny conversion between your application and the database itself. It's run on the JVM. And please take a look on this link. As Marcos said, my recommendation is, of course, the idea here is a brief idea. And to know more about this, the Eclipse Store.io is the place to go. And by the way, Marcos, also here, it's a bar conversation. So just jump in, put your mic out, and then talk. Okay, so don't be afraid to talk with us. So I did my cat fake here. And what I'm gonna do, I'll have my Java SE container where I will have my faker. So I come here, I will create my faker here. And then I will create my cat. So I cat where I do have my faker cat. I have my object. Thank you, Felipe. I'm doing the best. I'm trying to do the best. I have my cat, I have my faker, I inject. The next step is to take that information in storage. So on this case, also I'm using Jakarta EE. I will inject my container, the template. But remember, if you're gonna use a Spring, there is integration between Eclipse Store with Spring. If you're gonna use Quarkus, there is integrations and so on. So of course, I'm Jakarta EE committer. I enjoy a lot Jakarta as framework and specification and Payara. So that's why I'm using this approach way. But so I do have my template. I will inject my container here. Don't worry, I control my time. So because we're gonna have a second time for questions and then show how it integrates with Payara. So I do have my template, and my next step, of course, is to insert. And once I return, I can do queries, I can do informations, and I can do any kind of a CRUD operation. So I can create, retrieve, update, and delete any information through Eclipse Store. It's a graph structure, and you can run on memory if you wish. But if you wish to do integration with some technology that you already know, Eclipse Store also have integrations with several SQLs, NoSQLs, and blob service. So if you want to integrate with Amazon S3, it's fine. If you want to integrate that with any relational database, it's fine as well. The point here is you're gonna save a lot of time, empower a consumer, and cloud costs because of that approach. So I did my cat operation, then I will do my query, select this way here. I will use my cat class where I can use my ID, or I can just return everything. So I come here, I will return the results, and then I will print out the result. So the result is something like this. So that's the result. Of course, I got some generic issues, and let's execute this little guy here. So what did I do? Basically between okay, I'm gonna do, yes, I guess you're gonna have the record sessions, and Stuardo, don't worry, we're gonna cover the endpoints approach with Payara at the end. So I will cover the brief idea of Eclipse Store, and then move on to Payara. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just add that, yes, this is, we are recording this webinar, and you will be able to access it via the same link you've used to just, enter the webinar today. Just give it a few minutes after we finish, and in a few weeks' time, it will be on YouTube as well, and we'll let you know. But yeah, just use the same welcome email link if you want to revisit. Over to you, Otavio.
Thank you, Domenica. Luqman, do you have something to say?
No, I was just saying that you are currently demoing in using Java SE, and then you will transition to Jakarta, where you show the endpoints and all that. I was just answering the question in the forum. Yeah.
Okay, guys. So don't be super anxious. Gonna see Payara in action with Eclipse Store. So I'm gonna show that soon. The idea here is to just isolate, to understand first what is Eclipse Store, what they can do, and then move on to Payara. Especially because the idea is to have an overview of everything. This way you are able to understand and then move on to try to prioritize your home and so on. So what did I do? I did the integration. I did the basic operation with cats. I can do the exact same thing with dogs. If you are familiar with Jakarta data, you also can do the integration with repository. So I can come here. I can create my cat repository where I do have my interface, where I can do my pageable repository. So it's super normal for who is using Spring. So I have my interface and I have my extend from some repository. And on this repository, I need to fill up two parameters. The first one is my entity type, and my second one is my ID type. On this case, I will have my cat, and then my second one is the string. So my type, and then my ID type. So I activate this repository with the repository annotation. So far so good, nothing weird from here. And the next step is to inject the cat repository. So I come here, I have my repository, I will inject my repository. So my repository, oops, not you. The containers, select cat repository, and then I will, this way I'm able to use, so I can come here, and then I can, instead of insert, I can do the save. What is the main idea of save? The idea here is, instead I know exactly what's going on there, I will insert save because it will check if the information is there. If it's not there, if it's there, it will update. If it's not there, it will insert. So it will hide for us the database detail, but also we're going to use Eclipse Store. There's no transactions, there's no mapper, there's no nothing. So it's super fast to make it possible. So I do my repository. I come here, I can do my find all with a string, and then I will convert to list, and then I will execute again. So I come here, I will execute one more time. So the result is, as you can see right now, I will have two cats because I run twice this code, and it's stored in my database. Once I did not define any database, it will use some temporary folder, but you can override this behavior to do either the integration with database or define a better place to store that information. So I covered the idea of the cat repository. Of course, also we talk about repository. What you can do is find by the name. So I can come here, I can have my cat, find by name, and then define the name here. And as you can see, I don't need to handle or care about the implementation at all, because somebody will translate to Eclipse Store language. And when it's go to Eclipse Store, there is no translation between Java and the database because the database itself is already Java. That's why Eclipse Store is ultra fast as database. So I did it find by name. I come here. So what I'm going to do next is I will take a name. So I will take Sun here, copy, and then I will take here, returning by the Sun name, and oops, not you, and take the repository, not you as well, find by name. So right now I will find by Sun. So instead of print out the list of results, what you're going to do is just put the size to be more easier to read. So right now it has 3, and I do have cats with the name Sun. So my random is not worked so well that I thought. If you wish, you can do the pagination process. Eclipse Store has several collections that works as lays. For example, if you wish to use lays list, lays sets, and lays map, you are able to use with Eclipse Store. And what does that mean? Imagine that we have a huge collection of 1,000 of data, or we're going to have several thousand data. And of course, it doesn't make sense to throw all this information to your application. So what you can do instead, you can return a small piece of that information. Okay, you can do that with the pagination inside Eclipse or Jakarta, or use the lays collections that is available in the newest version of Eclipse Store, or combine those. So it's up to you to define each one going to use or combine. I talk a lot of cats. We have option to, for example, to combine. For example, I do have a dog, a cat, and all this belongs to the animal, where I do have name, I do have breed, and I do have ID. So imagine right now that I want to have a cat repository, a dog repository, and I will do the same. So I come here, I say repository, a dog, and then a string. Probably I will do the same queries. I mean, I probably will do a find by name, find by breed, and find by ID. What can I do instead of call paste? I can create components with this interface. For example, here I can use, okay, let's try to find a name, animal queries, or animal repository, or animal variables, whatever you wish. Define this interface here, where it is T that extends any animal. And right now, what can I do is to have a T find by name, string name. And I can also do have my by breed, and at my cat repository, instead of copy paste, what can I do is to have one more component. So animal queries, and then come here, and then let's use a cat. Not you, sorry. I actually learned how to use Mac, so that's why sometimes I start to fighting against my keyboard, because it's supposed to be Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, but right now it's like a butterfly command. I don't know how to say that, but sometimes it's confused for me, at least in my second week of Mac. So what did I do? So I have my animal as an interface. Oh, thank you, Estuardo. I do have my animal queries to summarize the queries that's common to both, to animals. And I extend this behavior on my interface. So right now I'm able to do both. So I will execute again. Right now it's a return 4. I still doing the query by the name of Sun, and it's return the information. So I can combine queries using my repository if I wish as well. What did you see right now? So we can see first the integration between Java and pure Java with SE and Eclipse Store. As you can see, right now we are able to combine Eclipse Store with Jakarta data and Jakarta NoSQL. But if you want to see any more integration, Eclipse Store, there are a huge amount of samples and also a huge amount of integration. So in Java flavors. But of course, here I will explore more my favorite Brazilian fish, Payara. It's danger. It helps you a lot on the development, especially what I do more enjoy in Payara, because it's easier to understand. It's really easier to have both Jakarta and MicroProfile. I don't need to choose, okay, should I use Jakarta EE or should I use MicroProfile? Payara has a flavor that allow me to combine both, so I can use the best of the both worlds. Okay, so I will come here. For some reason, I need to exit the presentation mode, come through Windows, show my Payara application, and then run again my presentation mode, where, of course, I don't have a lot of time. The idea is to show briefly the Eclipse Store combined with Payara and show how we can achieve this with Eclipse Store. Because with Eclipse Store, I can focus directly in my business. So I can write DDD if without imagining the modeling scenario. Of course, if you're going to use relational database, I need to think how does it going to fit in the normalization. If you're going to use NoSQL, such as Cassandra, MongoDB, I need to think about this normalization process, how to do the query view design, and so on. And another perspective is Eclipse Store, where I can modeling directly my business with my Java code, and the Eclipse Store will handle anything else. And once I say that, right now it's impossible to write application if without microservice, right? So microservice here, microservice over there. But the beauty of Payara is you are able to use both. So if it does make sense to use monolith, go for it. If you're able to use microservice, go for it. If you want to start with monolith and then move to microservice, Payara provides for you several strategies in architectural perspective. So you can use Payara the whole process development. What I'm going to show to you right now is my Payara application, where, as you can see here, my POM XML file. It's already supporting Jakarta 10 with the latest version of MicroProfile, and of course, the version of Payara Fish here. So it will generate the WAR here. If you're familiar with the REST application, I will have my resource, my docs here, and then I will inject my repository that exactly like I explained to you. I will do my integrations. So I did my find out, my insert with put, where I can use as well post and do this practice. To make our life easier, I put a get path random to create several random docs. Marcus, please raise your voice. Show yourself a little bit. I mean, if you can. If you can, if you're not, it's fine. But yes,
we can use the chat. So please do use the chat.
Okay, please use the chat. Okay, I can share the POM with Payara. So don't worry, I'm going to share the link repository at the end. But yes, the latest version of Jakarta EE provided, the MicroProfile provided, the Eclipse here, the Payara Fish, provided, of course, because we're gonna run it in the server. And the Microstream one, as Market said, I just need to write down with my Java application, if without annotation, if without anything, and it is ready for use. So I will consume less, I will write less code, and I don't need to do the translation between must be my business in the database. Here, I do have my dog here, especially because I love dogs. Sorry, Luqman, sorry, Mitchell. I am a dog person. Don't judge me because of that. I have no idea how to have a goat at my home. Okay, Mitchell, you do like dogs. Okay. And I have my dog, I have my repository in my resource. What I did. Okay, Otavio, how you can run Payara? Luqman and I had a discussion about how to use. If you wish, you can run that on container. And it's fine. You can run, generate a war, and then convert it to a container. Payara has support for it. If you wish, you can run inside the ID like this. So I came through the configuration. I choose the name server. I will find where my server is on my class path. And based on that, I will come to my deployments and choose my application to run, to start with. And that is it. Okay, Jonathan Hector, what's the name of the plugin you are using? That's a beauty of IntelliJ and Payara. There's no, once you install, you're able to use. That's for you. So basically, you come here, we have your WAR file. You come here to configurations. Right now I'm editing, but if you wish, you can add one, probably it will be empty, and then choose the path of the Payara on your computer, and that is it. You don't need to do anything else. What I'm going to show to you here is, okay, I have a random, I have a get. So yes, it's pretty simple to use Payara. I will create one more method. This one here will be to find by ID. So I will have my get. I'll have my path here where it will have my ID. Okay, I should have a few more time. And then what I'm gonna do, I will return dog find by ID, and then string ID, where I need to define the path parameter. So where are you? Path param. I come here to the ID. So I will open the brackets and close, and finally do this repository find by ID, and finally return the ID. I will throw an exception if I don't find this little guy here. So I come here, I'll throw an exception. Of course, don't do that in production. But to make it be less judgeable, I will return a not found. So I'm not so bad on my code. So, and again, I don't need to do any single query with Eclipse Store. I know my database, I know my entities, and Eclipse Store will handle anything else for me. So I do have an application, I do have, and let's run my application. Inside, it will start my Payara, then do deploy of my application. So it's running. And to make my life easier, what I'm gonna do, I will generate some random. Oops, not you. So let's take some dogs here. Oh, it's got an issue because I put fishes, but it should... Also, nobody mentioned the fishes, I put dogs, but the idea is the same. So it's still spec. So be happy with pets, be happy with dogs. Just have your pets. Anyway, so what did I do here? So I put my dogs, I fill up with the random information, and that is it. Right now, I'm able to do service integration with that point. So if I want to do query by ID, I come here and then do the query, and I'm happy with that. Estuardo with how about the configuration of the database? That's the beauty of Eclipse Store. We have a couple ways to do the configuration. My time is almost up. So if you come here to the configuration, Marco, do you have the configuration documentation easier here? Anyway, if you come here, okay, let's check here, getting started. You do have the documentation and you can find the configuration. So the backup, the storage sockets here. So you can define local system, as I said. You can define SQL database like HANA, MariaDB, Oracle, Postgres, SQLite, blob stores. So you're gonna have a huge amount of configuration. So it's up to you to define where this information goes through and how it will be serialized. So take here, I will share the link for you. So it's a huge and rich and really straight documentation. So of course, my idea is to don't make you an expert in Payara and Eclipse Store in 35 minutes, but to give you the overview and how to find more information about us. So of course, if you want to know more about Payara, not PayPal, so there is the link here. So Payara Fish. So there is a website here where you can get more information. So I really recommend you to take a look on both. So Eclipse Store, Payara, and yes, you can combine both to make a Ultrafast microservice application, especially in the cloud native age. And finally, achieving the good step of the health persistence layer. Achieve the goal with the simplicity, isolation, because right now we don't need to handle this point of the database, and the last one, to take advantage of the database. And that's all. So is there any questions, any few comments, thoughts?
Yeah, Otavio, we've got one question in the Q&A. Someone's asking, I didn't understand how Eclipse Store can work with relational database.
How Eclipse Store can work with relational database? Marcus, I will reply that, but please, you can complement me with more information. So the idea is, imagine that we need to handle with some legacy database, or you're working at a finance and your company already did the homologation with this relational database. What you can do is combine Eclipse Store with this relational database, where the Eclipse Store will serialize those information and put on the relational database. As I said, you cannot use relational database if you wish. You can if you want, but you don't need it. You can now use anything or use some blob service or anything like this. The point is up for you. Okay?
Maybe I can expatiate. The idea of Eclipse Store or Microstream is another option for persistent application data. So you don't have to have relational database to be able to use Eclipse Store. They are mutually exclusive products, and you can use them together depending on your application, or you can use just Eclipse Store alone as the persistence engine or underlying runtime for persistent data in your application. So in the end, it's another tool in your arsenal as a developer, and then you pick the right tool for the right job at the right time.
Yes. It's one more question from Mitchell. How is Eclipse Store different from Hibernate OGM? The main difference is Hibernate is not a database. So Hibernate is a huge layer between your application and the database itself. With Eclipse Store is able to create this tiny layer. So basically, Eclipse Store is a database that allows you to do an easy integration. Okay. And Hibernate OG or RM is a huge mapper layer between you and your data.
Yeah, I think that's all questions for now.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
we're at the hour. Yeah,
yes.
Thank you. And yeah,
thank you, everybody.
It was awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Otavio, really, and thank you all who just for carrying on chatting, for answering all these questions. So we didn't have to answer them. That's great. This is always great to see. Just community spirit and people helping each other. So carry that on GitHub, carry that on forums, anywhere else where you're contributing. Thank you very much, Otavio and Luqman. And like we said, this is going to be available as a recording. You can come back to it, maybe give it another hour or so if you do want to revisit some of the bits of the demo, and you can access it through the same link you've used to join us today. And yeah, I think that's all. So again, do come back to our events. You know where to find them. Just go to our website, payara.fish. Under Learn, you will find events and news and events section. If you're in our on our mailing list, you will definitely be informed about any upcoming events. And if you're not on the list, then go to blog, payara.fish, and sign up really simply, just with your email address. We post a lot of tech content, a lot of educational content every week. So I'm sure most of you will find it useful and interesting. And yeah, have a great day, a great evening, wherever you are in the world. And we will see you next time, hopefully. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
See you.
Bye. See you later. Bye-bye.